Good morning, Tom Ginn, your host, G Force. G is for gratitude. Uh, Gratitude, in my perspective, is probably, I believe, one of the most powerful concepts to embrace in your life. It changes perspective. It just changes how we look at the world because it's positive gratitude. And I've been using this in my coaching platform is helping people get clarity of their why in life, their purpose in life, how to deal with obstacles and challenges. Uh, and gratitude is a great way to do it. So it eliminates negativity, brings new perspective, brings hope. And so every Monday, Wednesday, I've been covering principles around gratitude. And so today, though, I'm going to gratitude with the guest I have today, Jamar Jones. And I'm just going to give a little intro to him. Jamar is somebody here in the Milwaukee area, and he's a video marketing and branding and marketing architect. He's a speaker, a motivator, connector, a creator, a gamer, and I really like this one. This is kind of interesting to me, and I got a question around that. Comic book enthusiast, and the author of this book, Change Your Circle, Change Your Life. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring in Jamar. Good morning, Jamar.
Boom.
Boom. Good morning. Hey,
I'm
it's
here.
A pleasure having you here.
Good
I'm so
morning.
grateful to have you as a guest. And what I'd like to do today is just share a little bit about yourself. Your why. We'll talk I've got some questions about your book and want to make sure people are aware of the dynamics of this book. So welcome. So
Yeah, thank you. I got my coffee, that you hooked me up with. You've been mugged. This is epic. It's awesome. It's a perfect way to
All
drink
right.
some coffee.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. Yeah, so Jamar, share a little bit about your journey. Where are you from? A little bit about your personal life, that type of thing. A little bit about your businesses. It's all yours. And I've got some questions as we go through here this morning. So,
Yeah. So I've moved around a lot, at least when I was younger. But I reside mostly into the Milwaukee area. I moved to North Carolina and Virginia at early stages of my life. So I actually went to 4 different high schools in 3 different states. So that was a lot of moving around, and really that was just from my family just needing to provide, and so had to go wherever the job offer was at, especially like in 2008 and a little bit sooner. There's a lot of movement in the job market, so Dad just did everything he can to provide, and and then I was heavily into music. I still love music. It's still a first passion of mine. So I definitely, pursued a music career, performing a lot. At the peak, I was doing about 100 shows a year, and just touring around the Midwest and then the East Coast, while working an IT job. So it was my boss at the time was just so accommodating for my dream, to have that happen, and letting me still pursue that, but as long as I got work done when I came back. So it was really good. And then as I started to progress through life, then I actually started getting into the video marketing space. After I got about 45 people got laid off at the job I was working at, so the whole office closed down, and I had to figure out what I wanted to do, and I didn't want to be closed in by somebody else's decisions. I wanted to kind of create my own path, and so that's when my company was born, and been on the road ever since. Still going on this journey. So I have a team of about 7 people now. We have an office in Brookfield, Wisconsin, and always staying busy, doing speaking engagements, podcast stuff like this. We're doing a lot of marketing, branding, social media, podcasting, and strategy for other companies. And yeah, we love it. I mean, it's something I love to do. I love to impact. I love to create and give opportunity to others.
Wow. Here you're talking about, you're a musician, right?
Yep. Yep.
And you do an IT, which is, the logical analytical side. So you've got two great skills there, the creative
Yep.
side, and that's usually I'm just all creative. When you talk IT and details, it just goes over my head. So, um, I've seen your videos and that, and it's amazing how you conduct yourself and the message you have. But a little bit about your business, and I know you're doing some other things with some other colleagues that we both know in
Mhm.
this arena, Young Guns. Tell
Yep.
a little bit more about your business. Who who do you want to serve, and why video marketing is such an important factor in today's environment, and a little bit about Young
Yeah.
Guns.
Yeah, for sure. So we really serve a few verticals, but we have different products that kind of help different verticals at the time. So we really are heavily into the B2B space. So if you're thinking about uh, financial investing, venture capital kind of firms, financial advisory, those ones that have to get out to other businesses, also in the IT technology side, and then staffing and recruiting area we can also help with because they're trying to get in front of businesses in a lot of that B2B space. We help a lot with social media branding, podcasting strategy, and really just getting in front and getting that brand awareness that a lot of times that those sectors really lack in true brand awareness and actually getting that attention. Um, why video marketing? I've always been a creative person, but I'm also an introvert. So that's why both of those pieces of the IT side, the technical side of video, but also being creative and showcasing that creativity, it was just a perfect match. So then utilizing that and just understanding, doing deep research onto what works, and then also I can apply it directly to my own life. So I can actually use these techniques and these methods that I believe in, my philosophies, and show people that it actually works. So that's what I like about it. It's not just all talk. I can actually live it and breathe it and actually demonstrate it for others, and people see that and they're like, hey, I want a piece of that. How can I actually start generating that piece of it? And actually that's kind of how the snowball effect happened, and got into the leadership team at Young Guns because they saw what I was able to do on that side. And then Young Guns, they have an amazing group of guys that are running it and producing amazing events, amazing content on YouTube, and they're able to provide a lot of good information. But they were missing just the element of the marketing and the branding aspect of Young Guns, and that's kind of why they brought me in to fill that piece in there. Because all of them have amazing traits, and then I was kind of just the missing cog in there. So we're going to do some awesome stuff. We got a lot of things planned, and yeah, we can't wait to get that out.
That's how we met. It's amazing how the universe delivers what through awareness. People that you, I like what you say, change your circle, change your life. It's just like being aware, changing circles. I came to that Young Gun event. This is how we connected. We sat down. I sat down at the same table you were,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah. So that's the amazing thing. And in a brief conversation around that event, I knew that I wanted to connect with you. And then that was the announcement of your relationship moving into the Young Gun team. And
Yeah,
that is a
yeah.
powerful, powerful group. I've been following Paul Newberger. He's done some coaching with me. He's been on my program as well. And so now we have a full
Okay.
circle. Four of you have been on. David
Yeah.
Bellman. These are great guys, great business leaders, want to help and serve the business community. That's what Young Gun is about. It's about helping
Yep.
and serving the entrepreneur, the small business guy or gal out there. And then Andy Wines, and then now you. So it's come full circle, and I'm really grateful that the universe delivered the opportunity to change the circle. So that's how we got connected. So,
Yes. Yes.
so Young Guns, now you've been doing their marketing and branding and that type of thing. So,
Yeah. So right now we just been it kind of just got started. So really, first and foremost, I don't just jump in and start changing up stuff. I want to jump in and learn and really just start to soak in what they're about, what they've been doing, and just see on, I love to do things in iterations, so what things can we change now? What things can we have some big impact, and we can work our way up to the giant stuff. But let's just, figure out what we can do. So a lot of it right now has just been learning, having some leadership calls, and then just getting ready for this summer event that we have in about 4 weeks. So we're just going to say, hey, how can we promote that? How can we get more eyes on there, and how can we get more attendance for that event? So that's really our focus at this time.
wonderful. Yeah, you guys are doing a great job. You're influencing a lot of people and helping people out quite a bit. So that's
Appreciate
how
it.
we
Yeah.
got together. So
Yeah.
and great group of guys doing the right things for the right reasons. So nothing but success is headed for you. But let's talk a little bit about your journey a little bit. To writing the book.
Yeah.
What was your why? What caused you to write a book? What was the motivation, inspiration to share a very powerful message and in your book? So, what was that about?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm all about legacy, just leaving my imprint on this world while I'm here. And that's kind of where it first became with music, putting out albums and putting out, mixtapes and my, creative style out into the world. So that way it lives forever, literally lives forever. Um, and then this phase of my life, I'm just like, I need to kind of put out my own album in the business world, but also in the personal world. So that's why, came up with the book. And that's really what the thing is. It's like, I know I'm never going to be 100% ready to release this book or to put it together in the first place. I'm busy as it is. And, but I'm like, when is ever going to be the time that's going to be right? I already have the concept. I already have the vision. I already had the name of the book 5 years ago. So I actually had the concept of it, and then some of the actual titles of the chapters already. I was already doing videos on there way back 5 years ago on some of these stuff. There's a really old video of me filming at like 2:30 in the morning, and I'm like, "Don't surround yourself with bums," and because I just had something happen in my life where I'm like, I got to get rid of some bums. So I need to be able to adapt and change my circle, and so that concept, I'm like, there's something there. I didn't know it was a book at the time. But then as it got, probably about 6 months ago, actually, no, probably about a year and a half ago, that's when I started to say, I need a book. I need a book to come out. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going to be about. And then it just clicked about 6 months ago. But as far as putting the Change Your Circle, Change Your Life, I did not realize the title was so good until it's now out there. And I would start talking about it because immediately people are like, that's interesting. I want to learn more. And so any future authors out there, please, just make sure that your title, that you're really taking the time to make something very creative and something that grabs, because besides the cover, usually it's going to be the title that grabs somebody to check out what you put your heart and soul into.
So, changing your circles. Any specific stories about when you realized that getting most people would like to stay in the circle in because it's comfortable, but where does
Oh
real
yeah.
growth have?
Oh yeah.
Where does real growth occur? What
Real
was your
growth occurs when you're able to be uncomfortable, when you're challenging yourself. When I knew that this concept was real is when I just looked back at my life. All I did was just do some reflection. And I started to understand that I'm able to adapt and change my circle almost, at will, if I want to. And I'm able to get into other circles that people are just like, man, I would love to be in that. But I was able to adapt and get into those circles. And I said, well, what's the trend? How am I able to do this? And had that, and ultimately by moving those circles, I was able to change my life and change my opportunity for the next. So it's just about figuring out how to navigate through that and evaluate what your current circle is giving you and how are you going to get into others. So, and what kind of value can you add in those circles? So that way you can make a good staple piece while you're in those circles and learn, from people that are a lot smarter than you and doing things that you want to be doing and helping you get to the goals that you're trying to reach. And this is personal or business. Can be from, hey, I'm in a bad group of friends. I need to have the right influences. I need to have people that are challenging me. I need some people that are going to be, professionally critiquing, what I'm doing, but in a positive way. I need people those are the type of people I need around me to actually move forward. So you might even analyze that and say, I need a new group of friends. I need a new group of people I can collaborate and dream with. And sometimes people are not, that is not it. And a lot of people are just stuck in their same circle and they don't grow, especially after like college or high school. So if you went to college or high school or whatever, and afterwards, that's usually the time when your circle is changing the most. But then what happens is a lot of people just get stuck right there. They change that circle. Maybe they're working a job. They just have that, that core group of friends or whatever that they've accumulated over the few years of time. And then now they're trying to say, I'm comfortable here, so I'm just going to stay here. Instead of, where are my goals? Where am I going to? Is this really right for me? People need to evaluate that circle way more than they do, because a lot of times you blink and then all of a sudden it's years pass. You're 30, 40, 50, 60 years old. And then you're just saying like, man, I need to do something. And then it's too late because you haven't evaluated anything. You haven't evaluated your current circle and you don't know how to get into these other circles. It's just so important. I'm not saying to abandon everybody that you know. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you keep those people that are riding for you. You keep those people that are challenging you, that are helping you, that are a positive influence in your life. But the ones that are not, you figure out ways to put up some barriers and or exit plans together, to get that out, to really change your life and get on the right track.
Changing circles, and that's something I've done over my life, and I've also been stuck. And what are the couple reasons people don't seek out a difference? I love what are a couple things that what's really holding people back to take that step forward to change that circle, change the relationships, either personally or business or whatever. What do you think are a couple reasons people stay in the circles they're at that are not serving them for what they really want in life? What are a couple things that you could share?
I mean, I think it all boils down to self-awareness. That it's just a one answer. It's self-awareness. They don't have the self-awareness to know that these things are happening. A lot of people are just, it's like they're blinded or they're plugged into the matrix. They're they're locked in there and they're living in this world and they don't know how to unplug themselves to really see what's going on and what it is. And the self-awareness, it's confidence, it's fear, it's perspective, it's self-love. There's a lot of elements that people don't recognize when they're in there. So it's almost like deep down, they know it's bad, but do they have the self-awareness and the power within themselves to be able to change that? That sometimes takes time and it takes self-discovery to really break through that and truly unplug yourself, from the matrix pretty much, and that's really what stops people. And because they just get comfortable, they're like, hey, a lot of people just say it is what it is. This is my life. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm just a small peon or a peanut in the world, and that's all I get. And a lot of people, like, once again, it's just that self just doubt on themselves and just like, this is just what life is for me. There's nothing I can do about it. And when you discover that you can do something about it, and you are the reason that this is happening, and you actually can change your outcomes, you start to look at life a whole lot differently.
Fabulous. I really appreciate the first principle. And I think it's, like you said, is so important. Just awareness alone. That's where growth occurs. If but unfortunately, and I work in this space, Jamar, is that, most people don't have a clear vision of what they really want in their life, their why, their purpose. They can't really see it. And so they're walking around with limiting beliefs, old programming or paradigms, and those type of things. And it's only through awareness that you start recognizing, maybe for the first time, fear. How
Yeah.
making that leap. Accept. Am I going to be rejected? Am I going to be accepted? And self-image.
Yeah.
Am I worthy of stepping into a different circle? And I'm speaking from myself here as well.
Right.
But
Right.
awareness, I think, is really, really key here. I was reading in your book, you mentioned it, perspective. Share with me a little bit about how you interpret, how you change your perspectives and being open to that. So, just share
Yeah.
your thoughts there.
And I think that a lot of people need to hear this about perspective. So the ability to have a wider perspective, a wider lens, to see everything from a bird's eye view is very powerful when you're trying to figure out how to change your circle. Uh, Human beings are coming from all walks of life. We all have our own story to tell. So first, that's one sentence that I want somebody to really resonate with them, because then when you start to pass judgment, you start to have your own ideals, your own story, in which adds up in your head to whatever your outcomes are and what you believe is going to happen. Now you've started to develop your own type of, you know, putting people in boxes of yes or no, but you're not giving the chance where people can actually tell you their story and widen that perspective. So in the book, I talk about being able to really evaluate what things are really going to be, short-term effects or long-term effects. Some things honestly just don't matter. And then a lot of times people just put their whole self into things that just don't matter. And then it just alters and changes what their outcomes can be in life. And they let that drag them down, when you need to have a wider perspective on situations and say, is this going to really affect, is this really going to matter 5 years from now? You know, if, and just thinking about yourself as you are not the end all be all in the world. You have to look at things from a wider perspective. So like my first time when I went out to London, my first time out of the country, and I think this is for any person out there, if they've ever been out of the country or where they came from and got to experience a new culture, it just immediately widens your perspective. We're like, oh, we're not the only ones here. There's other things going on in the world. There's other people that are living totally different. It just widened everything. It's like, wow, this is like a brand new world, and now I'm the foreigner. I'm the person that is not accustomed to what's going on here, and I just need to learn. Now, imagine if I have my own, stigmas and my own thoughts and ideals, and I just bring it right into their world, and I'm just like, nah, this is not it, blah blah. Instead of just trying to learn and figure out, like, what is this all about first? Let me listen. Let me hear some. And it was very interesting to hear about what America is from the outside. We always hear from the inside from other Americans, but what about from the outside looking in? How do people view America? And it's very interesting because it's like we are kind of all one unified body, on the outside looking in. We're just Americans, but then when we're in America, we're so segregated, and it's crazy, so it's just about perspective of your situation and having a widened view. And one of the best lines that I have there in that chapter is, seek to understand, not to be understood. Seek to understand, not to be understood. Do that first, and a lot of things will change for you.
Absolutely. Great comments there. I want to go back to what you says. It is what it is. That's one of the most damaging statements a person can say to them. because it creates the limiting beliefs. You're not worthy. It is what it is. I'm not capable to do more. This is my circumstance. I'm a victim. I'm all that. And I really, when I hear those words from it is what it is, it's a self-sabotaging statement. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
You're just setting yourself up for failure the moment that comes from your lips, and you're not giving yourself a chance. And the worst part is, like when you said self-sabotage, that's the worst part. Like if you punch yourself in the face, you already got enough going on in the world punching you in the face. Why are you going to self-sabotage yourself and say, oh no, it is what it is, I can't do nothing about that? Like, oh man, that's just this is just where I'm at. It's like, wow, you're gonna now punch yourself in the face. It's like, get your guard up and fight. You already got too much other incoming coming on, and don't do it to yourself. If you have, that's the one thing you can control is yourself. So take some control, get some ownership, get some accountability, and don't have that be your scapegoat as far as, just saying, oh yeah, I can't do anything.
Yeah. I just wanted to build on that. And another thing that I was in the book, you talked about vision, and how do you look at vision? How do you use vision to build your, what would I call it? Your movement to what you desire in life. Share a little bit about how you look at vision for yourself and what other people might be looking to do.
Yeah. Vision is really just where are you going? Like where are you headed? Having some goals, having some milestones, putting down some achievements. Like what are you in your personal life, your business life? What are you ultimately trying to go for? If you don't have any goals, you're just living day to day and just flying by the seat of your pants. I don't. It just seems unproductive. You don't know what's going to happen, and what are you striving for? So you have to have some type of goals to go for, and then and really play the long game. Don't just do short term, successes and relish in those moments and never get to the next step. So in the book, I talk about going for the championship. Go all the way, and go and the basketball analogy, especially with the Bucks getting it done. This is actually a perfect analogy with, the Bucks didn't just have, even having regular seasons in years past, having a really good record, but not being able to go for the championship, not being able to get it done. And now, they were able to also have a really good season, get it done in the playoffs, and and every player says it's just one game at a time. They're not just relishing in these short-term successes. Yes, you should celebrate, but don't live in it. Don't get so stuck in it, because you got to go for the long game and have those goals. I see we got a question.
I should a comment. Yeah. Go ahead. Good morning, Theodora. She's in one of our groups, and I've interviewed her as well. Awesome lady out of Denver. If it doesn't matter in 5 years, don't spend more than 5 minutes on it. Is that true to you?
It depends on what you're building. So if you're building something, yeah, actually no. No, that's true. I would say that. So that's actually a good point, especially like personal, type of attachments. I think that's actually really good, because if it's not going to matter in 5 years, you're just boiling about this one moment, it's just like, that's not going to matter in 5 years. So don't, boil in it for 5 minutes and move on. So I think that's 100% true. 100% true. Like if it doesn't matter. But I would say that, if it's something that's a building block, that's really going to help you get to that next level and take you to where you need to go, then it's definitely worth it to you. But don't relish in moments that are ultimately not going to change the course of your life.
Well, thanks, Theodora.
Thank you.
Share this out, and we'll be talking soon. Um, so it's just going back to that is, goals. One of the things I hear people have goals, and what I found, if their why isn't strong enough, their purpose isn't strong enough, and their
Yeah.
vision isn't clear, and I mean clear to a point that it's like reading a novel. It's like a painting that you create. If it's not in, because we think in pictures, and if it doesn't have an emotional attachment to your why, goals don't work by themselves. I've been in business for a long time, and the processes and the first obstacle usually happens. Most people will quit, they will stop, or they will downsize.
Yep, they minimize. Yep,
they minimize themselves to limiting beliefs, and so vision, purpose, and why. The goals are the processes to get there, and like Theodora said there, asked that question. If it's supporting the vision, spend the time in it, right?
Yeah.
If it's supporting the vision. If it doesn't, you cast it aside. It makes life real simple when you have a clear vision. Again, thank you, Theodora.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I, just me personally, just in my own beliefs, and where I see some stuff, and maybe I have certain viewpoints on something, but it's also about timing. Like, you don't want to, like, am I going to spend my energy on this, and is the timing right for me to say something? So sometimes it's like, have the right timing, have the right platform, have the right stage, to really showcase your ideas and make sure that it's really going to hit home, on both sides. So I'm more just talking about in the aspect where people feel like they have to say something. And it kind of goes back to that, if it's not going to matter in the long term, don't say it. Just internalize it, write it down, whatever you need to do to get it out. But if you want it to matter in 5 years from now, maybe set up a better stage, better platform, maybe have a real conversation with that individual. Maybe, there might be other ways to express that and get your ideas out there in a constructive and in a positive way.
Well, thanks. I want to make a comment. I watched one of your most recent LinkedIn videos. You're awesome on the camera, man. I tell you, you got great presence. But I'm sure day one, I know I was terrified of the camera 9 months ago. I've been streaming for 9 months. This thing was the most terrible. Put me on a stage, I'm okay. Put me in front of somebody, I'm okay. But this camera was one of the biggest paradigms and fears I had. But you made a comment in a LinkedIn post that you did, and even the highest achievers or anybody, you made the comment about 10% effort, that most people only give about 10% effort in anything they're doing. Share with a little bit about your perspective on that, and how do you really get where you want to go if you get out of that 10% effort mindset?
Yeah. That's, once again, it comes down just to that self-sabotage. It's like, if you're going to go into something and do something, go all in and give yourself the biggest chance of opportunity through what you're doing. A lot of people just, they get a job just to get a job, and then they just spend 10% of their effort, clock in, clock out, and then they're just done, and they just want the paycheck. I understand you got to provide for your family and provide for you, but you want to live in purpose. You want to live in what you stand for, and give yourself the best opportunity. I just had an interview. This is actually a perfect example. Just had an interview with a lady named Kayla, and she had a crazy whirlwind of a life, crazy. But she worked her way up from being homeless at one point, and worked her way up and through a gym that she was working at, from the cleaner all the way to a regional manager. And she did that by she said she was going to be the best cleaner that they've ever seen. That was her mentality, was the best cleaner they've ever seen. And they eventually promoted her again and promoted her again. And then it was just like these incremental promotions, because she was giving it her all and not doing 10% effort. She was just killing it. And any type of good leader, if they see that, they're going to promote that. I mean, that's like, oh my God, you're just killing this. It's too easy for you. I gotta give you something else. And you're an amazing person to talk to. So giving yourself that chance and that opportunity. But most people would look at, oh, I'm just doing a cleaning job. They would just say like it's insignificant, as whatever. No one cares about it. And I'm just gonna sweep up and get out. But she went over delivered and everything. And she was working 4 jobs, by the way. So you talk about excuses, you know, she's working 4 jobs. So, and also had 8 kids. Like this woman is amazing in her story. But the truth is, a lot of people just aren't working hard enough in the right direction. So the work hard, work harder, work smarter, not harder. But you got to work hard in the right direction, and you got to give that effort. So you got to basically anything that any type of task that you have, any type of place that you're going, you're trying to reach that goal. You need to 4x it. That's what I say. I got that from Grant Cardone, where he said 10x it, but I think in a normal human being, like you need to 4x whatever you think it at least. So you need to actually put that out there and say, I'm going to do 4 times the effort that I think that I should give in anything. So no matter what you do, and honestly, that's going to open up doors for you just on showing effort, because you know how you beat a lot of your competition and the people in the job market or anything else that you get into is by effort. If you can outwork people, that's how you're going to get ahead. That is the key of how you're going to get ahead. If you don't have enough money, outwork them. If you don't have enough time, outwork them in the time that you do have. Just you have to outwork your competition, outwork the job market. Outwork people with, if you have a spouse, outwork any of potential competition that could enter the ring. You need to make sure that you're the best spouse possible. You're the best friend possible. You're the best, employee possible, or the best business owner possible. You have to have that mindset.
That's it. When you said that in that post, and I just wanted to make sure people hear this again. But I in the book again, there. That's Jamar's website. So everything you want to know about him and connect with him is there. You can order the book right through there, right through that link.
So there's a page called
it's
a page called book, and then it'll go to all the stuff about the book, and you can order it right through there, and it's also available on Amazon.
Something I was reading in the book that sort of, when I read, I go, shepherd versus the vampire.
Yeah.
Could you expand on it? Because it caught my attention reading the shepherd versus the vampire. Was he in his comic book mode or what?
Battle to the death.
No, seriously. But seriously, what's the contrast there? What is the message that between the shepherd versus the vampire?
Yeah, and that title alone is, I've noticed that people love that vampires and shepherds. And the vampires, really the concept is that if you evaluate your circle, as you're evaluating it, you're going to notice that there are people that are draining energy from your life and your day, and people that are giving you back energy. And so when you evaluate your energy, let's say you got 100% energy theoretically when you wake up. And then immediately you start to drain your energy throughout your day. Let's say you didn't get a good night's sleep. Let's say that you late taking the kids to school, and then you have a big project at work, and then that drains your energy, and you're just kind of going throughout your day, and things are draining your energy. You slip and fall, and your phone scratches. That things like just drain your energy throughout the day. So you have your natural drain of your energy. Then you got these vampires that show up out of nowhere and just boom, right on your neck where you least expect it. And you're just like, man, where did you come from? I'm just trying to live my life. And then you got these vampires, and they drain your energy from you when you least expect it, because they always make their problems your problems. And you got to watch out for these vampires. A vampire is somebody that's a constant complainer, a drama starter, somebody that is negative, somebody that is just all about themselves and they can't solve their problems, so they come and pull you along for the ride. And so then you got to deal with those vampires. And sometimes they could be family members, they could be friends, they could be coworkers, acquaintances. They could be your significant other. You never know, depending on where you're going, you know. And then you have the shepherds. The shepherds are the positive guides in your life. Those are the ones that are going to get you from point A to point B. They might even be a stepping stone piece. They might be somebody that gives you positive criticism and critiquing on to where you're going. But every time you're with that person, you get this jolt of energy. It's like when you talk with them, you start spinning up a bunch of ideas, you get a new direction, and you're like, oh man, that's so good, that's awesome. Let's do this, let's do that. And then you walk away and you just get this little jolt of energy. And that gives you back energy into your tank, into your daily tank. So you want to make sure that you have more shepherds than vampires, because vampires are dangerous. Vampires will constantly be around and be pulling you from reaching your goals, and you got to deal with them. And so you got to get the garlic, you got to get the wooden stake, and you got to take out some vampires, be the vampire slayer, and put up that barrier in your life. So that way you can make sure that you're limiting these vampires. And most times people don't realize these vampires exist. They kind of understand it, but because they don't have the self-awareness within themselves to understand that this person is draining it, or, oh, I need to help this person. You don't need to help that person. If they don't want your help, sometimes you got to just say, hey, I'm here. I'll be here when you need me. I love you, but I got to limit that interaction because I can't let your self-destruction be mine.
Great. When I read that, I go, that first caught my attention, you know, what's the contract here? So, great. You know, that's that creative analogy that you shared there. So,
yeah.
I know you got probably a hard stop come up here in a little bit, but
yes.
I'm just framing a question here. Just give me a second here.
Yeah, not a problem.
Gratitude, you know, because the program, my platform here is about gratitude. In your life, how do you use gratitude on a day-to-day basis? What do you do when you have that obstacle or a disappointment or a celebration? How do you embrace gratitude in your life?
That's a good question. Let me ask you one back real quick. What's your definition of gratitude?
Definition of gratitude is the appreciation of life, an appreciation of this moment, appreciation that this moment is the most valuable thing I have, and how I look at it will determine the outcome, no matter what's happening. So a space of gratitude is an eternal feeling of good, and it gives hope. So
right. Okay. Yeah, a lot of times, you know, I just recently, like, especially with my car, break it down. I'm like, man, now I got to figure out something with my car. So, you know, I was just like, I first let that disappointment kind of sink in, and I deal with that in my own way. And then I take that and say, but there is a lot of things to be grateful for. You know, I'm definitely in a way better position than I was 5 years ago, you know, 6 years ago when I first started the business. And if this happened, it would have been detrimental. it would have probably buried me for months. But now I've, you know, I'm grateful for, you know, how much work and where I am today, you know, to be able to say, hey, I can actually, I have good friends around me that I can carpool. I got, you know, I have, even, you know, some of the team members were like, hey, I can pick you up if you need it, you know. The business is doing good. And, you know, so I'm able to figure out how to get that taken care of and get back on track. So I think that having that gratitude and a reflection is just so important because it just levels you. It levels you and just says that no matter what your situation is, somebody can have it worse. And you need to have that gratitude to say like, hey, but where I am at, like, yes, this sucks. And you shouldn't like just internalize that and just, bury it. You should accept it, like just whatever you do to deal with that disappointment, to deal with those setbacks, deal with those challenges, you take that and you do it. But like the comment said, spend 5 minutes in it. Spend only a couple of minutes in that disappointment, that failure, whatever that is, and then go back to gratitude. Go back to, hey, but this is the position I'm in. I can get through this, and I'm grateful for this, and that. Because a lot of times when you start boiling that down, you can come up with a lot of more things that you're grateful for than the challenges that are happening. And as long as you tap into that gratitude, that's what's going to help you, and that's what helps me ultimately. I mean, I truly dive into that gratitude because I am very grateful and blessed, to be in the position I'm in.
Yeah. In any adversity, when we go to a place of gratitude, there's something we can learn, and then we pull from that and say, maybe I should have changed my oil more frequently. It brings a different level of awareness.
Exactly, that's what I'm thinking.
Being grateful changes your creativity. It changes it just negates negativity, the woe me, the victim, whatever we can internalize going to the negative, it stops it. You can't occupy in a positive negative at the same time. So go to place of gratitude. Be grateful that you have friends that get you someplace. Now you're in a better space, right? Is it going to fix the problem of the car being broken? No, that's a whole different set of things. But it brings you to a place that you go, oh my gosh, there is a solution.
Yeah.
Because if you don't go to this place of gratitude, the negative will control you.
Oh, and control you and control your decisions and everything. Yeah.
I call it the light switch because you can only hold one thought and one image at a time. So why hold a negative? Flip the switch, move to a state of gratitude, find the good, and build and watch what happens. Just watch what happens. It's amazing. That's what I do in my life. And I didn't invent the concept. It's been out there for eons. The principle of it's a spiritual principle as well. So and there's a science principle behind it. So, well, thanks for sharing that. In any parting thoughts? I know it's at the top of the hour here, and I know you got a busy, hectic schedule with all the things that you're doing. But I thank you very much. Any parting thoughts for the audience here this morning?
I would say, I mean, in your life today. So let me phrase it this way. So what you need to do today is take a sheet of paper, write down every person's name down of people that are in your circle. So, your friends, family, your acquaintances, coworkers, people that are directly in your life. Write down all their names and then just simply put a plus or a minus next to their name. Are they positive in your life or are they negative? Some people might have both, depending on what kind of mood they're in. But you need to just evaluate. They're not going to see this piece of paper. So don't feel guilty. Don't feel, like, oh, I don't want to, judge. Just do it for yourself. Stop thinking about everybody else for 1 second and just put it down for yourself and just simply put today. Don't do it any other day. Today. Write down all the names, plus or a minus. And you're going to just see visibly what kind of, like, where is that scale and how many pluses do you have and how many negatives do you have? And then you need to start to work through that to make those adjustments in your life, because they really should be all positives. They should be all pluses in your life.
Well, thank you for that wisdom and that instruction. I know it'll go a long way. I know I'm going to apply a couple of those techniques myself.
Yeah.
My friend, I just met briefly here a few months ago, and that type of thing. I feel like we're kindreds. Our energies are in alignment, and I look forward to having you on again if you'd like. Talk. Maybe,
for sure.
Yeah. So, being an influencer is what you are. In a positive way. But
Yeah.
I'm going to put you in the back room. Just hang on for about a minute, and then just we'll
Yeah,
wrap
for
a
sure.
couple details for you.
Okay.
But I'm so grateful that you were here this morning.
Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you,
All right.
everybody. See ya.
Jamar Jones, the book. Highly recommend it, because what he's put in this book are checklists, things you can evaluate for yourself to make that difference in your life. And he gave some great insight today. So I encourage that. G-Force, G is for gratitude. I believe it's the mortar between the bricks of life. When you incorporate that as part of your beingness and awareness on a day-to-day or moment-to-moment, things in your life change based on this moment. How you look at this moment will dictate what happens in the future. So with that all said, thank you for being here. Tag and share your friends. We'll see you on Monday. We'll be getting back into this book, The Power of the Subconscious, and how to move your life forward with gratitude, understanding our internal thinking. Have a great day, everybody. God bless.